third time around. Let's see. It's working or it's not working. I'm gonna wait to see who is here. Okay, 3 people straight away. So it looks like it might be better, it's working? Okay, so here we are in another room to do a session. It looks like today this internet didn't want to go me online from the other room of the school, but from this room it's working. So let's start again. Hello everybody, how are you? This is the third time. So let me get back into what I was speaking about. Today we are talking about how to engage all our students age 5+. Okay, so primary school kids or preschool kids, last year of preschool, if you, depending on the country you are living in. Okay, in the UK, as I said, kids age 5 are already in primary school. So sometimes, as I was saying before, this is a topic that I chose for this live because of lots of requests that I received on my question boxes. Okay, so I've asked 2 or 3 times, what are the most worrying thing for you when you're working with primary school kids? And lots of the answers were about the management of a group. So it was not about, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that. It was literally about the engagement of a group. And for me, I was saying before, it's a particular thing because I don't have this problem personally in my classes anymore. So I had to start thinking, because I had it in the past. Okay, so definitely I had some troubles when I was organizing, my groups, group classes. Maybe I had kids that were not all engaged, despite the level of energy that I was deciding to use in one session and my personal engagement with the kids. Despite that and my own motivation, I was still finding problems in managing the group. And then little by little, this thing started changing. And now I don't have this problem anymore. And I was like, so what is the difference? What really made the difference? The person that I am, my experience, or there is something more? And I realized that I've changed a lot the way in which I was working a few years ago to the way in which I work now. But not only I changed... I don't mean like I changed the way in which I interact with the students or the element of playfulness in my classes. That's always there. But I really changed the structure and the content of my sessions. So this is why this class is going to work around something specific, okay? That is, I think is gonna be useful. So normally when we run in classes with kids 5+, we can find some very challenging situations, right? So we could, for example, have trouble to keep their attention for the whole of our session. How long is the attention span that they have actually when they are in primary school? So how do we plan our sessions according to their level of attention? Also, a lot of kids come from, in my situations at the moment, children are coming from school. So they are tired, they are extra tired in the afternoon. But also when we go to the primary schools, we find sometimes the situation are tricky, okay? I've heard of teachers, even, music 3 teachers as well, that are struggling a little bit to keep the attention of the groups, or the groups are very, very energetic. So why do we meet all of these problems in schools? Another situation could be, for example, another of the reasons could be that our classes are very fun. We have lots of movement, and music in general brings up the energy of our students. And so a lot of kids misunderstand what is our class about. Okay, some kids think that they are here to do dancing more than learning music. Some kids could potentially find a moment in our sessions to release the tensions that are provoked by the rules of schools. So we have multiple situations that are playing against us, against our music classes, okay? Because they can take our session as a moment of liberation, and it's okay, right? It's a nice thing that they think that with us they can let go, they can relax, but we also want them to learn in those moments, right? Also, we see them only for 45 minutes a week, 60 minutes a week, and we want to, to help them develop in their musicality. So it can be very frustrating for us when we are trying to really connect with the students and we're trying to bring the message and the content that we want. It can be super frustrating to have kids that laugh between themselves, or kids that speak, kids that don't do a circle, kids that take a long time to understand the proposals that we want to bring. So it is hard. It is hard to manage groups of kids in primary school, but it can also be amazing and very rewarding. Okay. I found myself in both situations through the years. I've been passed from really starting, and I started teaching over 20 years ago. So definitely I went through all of those situations. But at the moment, I really want my classes to work and to have kids that are motivated, kids that are engaged. I want to help them develop in their musicality, but I also want them to, to engage with music, because we know as teachers, and I know as a teacher, all the benefits that music actually can bring to the students. So it's not only that I'm teaching music because I want them to learn an instrument or because I want them to become professional musicians one day. They can if they want. But mostly in the background of my mind, I want them to love music, because music can be a tool for them in life in general. So I also think about all of these extra benefits that kids can get from the music classes. And I could get very frustrated, if I am trying to bring all of this lovely thing to my classes and then kids are not listening to me. It could be very, very frustrating. Also, I know that when they get into the session, when they get into the method and the approach, they just simply love it. They have great fun. They love to play between each other. Their self-esteem grows a lot. So we really have a powerful job in our hands, and all of the challenges that we can find in the sessions can really be hard to manage psychologically for a teacher. And I think that specifically in music, there is an extra level of difficulty, as I said before, that I think come from the fact that music is also space for relief and self-expression. So with that, it comes the difficulty for kids to manage their own emotions and their own energies, okay? Because they come from a school system which is quite stressful. Classes now are very big. In England, the kids go to school and they are over 30 per class. So can you imagine being 6 hours a day in a group of 30 people of your age, which, you're 5, you're 6, you're 7, or within a huge complex where there are, I don't know, even 500 kids sometimes. That's a very stressful place to be. So when they come to our sessions where we tell them kind of, it's hidden in our message. We transmit this message of get in contact with yourself. When they get in contact with themselves, then we can have a very big explosion sometimes. But also we can have kids that have a particular relationship with music already, and they have their own ideas about music, and then we come in and we present something different, and then maybe it doesn't match with their expectations. Okay, so there are many things that play a role when we are learning how to manage a group, but we definitely want to work with kids that are motivated, that are engaged, and that are actively participating to our sessions, okay? All of them. So we want to create situations where kids feel welcome and where there is space for everybody with all the different needs that they can have. And this is absolutely possible. So if you just connected now, my name is Tiziana and I run a music school in London, and I'm here 1 day and a half a week. In the rest of my week, I train other music teachers and I help them to develop their own musical schools, their own musical business. And so I work with them on their didactic, on their unique teaching style to bring up their own potential from a pedagogical point of view, but I also support them in the organization and management of their own studio, their own businesses, and their own classes. Okay. And I've been doing this for many, many years now, and I love it. I really love it. At the same time, I come here in London. I have my classes with my students. I teach also in other parts of London sometimes, and I observe and keep training the teachers of my school. So it's a great team. It's a great place to feel that there is a big connection between teachers. We are in a space where sharing is part of our daily routine. And this is what I want to offer also online. So that's why I am here. So what was happening in my past when I was teaching classes a few years ago, and I had troubles with the management of the children, was because I was starting with a warm-up, and then I would start with a main activity, which would last maybe even 20-25 minutes, and was definitely too long. Kids were tired, but mostly, even if activities were great and super fun, and the kids were loving them, I would lose some of the children. Some kids were not engaged all the time. Older kids maybe would have, like oppositive behaviors, which happens a lot when the kids are 10, 11, 12, we start developing this type of relationship with adults as well. Now, much earlier than what we had 25 years ago when we were young. So I wasn't really working on their musical skills. I had in my head that I wanted to work on rhythm, I wanted to work on melody, I wanted to work on arm harmony, and I knew that somehow in my activities, I was kind of developing that. I was singing songs, I was working with body percussion, maybe we were singing in two lines, so there was polyphony in my sessions. So I was like, I think I am covering rhythmical skills, tonal skills, and harmonic skills. But I wasn't exactly sure that I was doing it. I was a bit confused, okay? My plan was, I had a long-term plan, but I didn't have it very clear how to bring the students from one point to the other. So why am I talking about these in relation to management of the children? Well, I'm telling you now, okay? So stay there. At some point when I was working in this way, I was invited to write a few parts of articles and websites about my own approach. So I started sitting down and really analyze specifically what my activities were working on. And what were the objectives, what were the outcomes of each of the exercises that I was choosing to use. At the same time, I was studying psychology. I was studying the development of the executive functions, so attention, working memory, inhibition of impulses, flexibility, cognitive flexibility and planning. So all of these inputs were coming in my life regularly. So I was studying my activities, trying to understand what was happening in my activities, studying the theory and researching what there was behind the development of children, behind the development of a brain, of kids. And the two things were starting, finding combinations and developing integrations. In that time, I also studied the formal instruction of MLT, of Gordon, okay? And through that, I found loads of answers. So I started organizing a routine in my classes, a simple routine, very simple routine, that was creating a perfect mix between MLT, body percussion, and circle music. Okay, and all the studies of psychology and neuromusic. So through all of these studies, basically, and the trial and error process I was going through, I realized that there was one aspect that was fundamental to keep the attention of my students. And that aspect, it took me years to understand what I was doing, okay? Because I was just researching, I was just developing things, I was just observing the students. And by the natural observation of the children and their long-term development, I started understanding how to build the activities, how to put the content inside my sessions. And so at the moment, adopting a flowing routine, which I'm going to tell you now what it is, for me is really what makes the difference in the classes with primary school kids. It's really what makes them stay there, be focused, be engaged, having fun, feel motivated to learn, okay? My routine is always the same. Otherwise, it wouldn't be called routine, okay? So I have a main routine that is not fixed. It's a flowing routine, okay? At the base of this routine, there are activities that I have defined with the name pace activity. Okay, so now my music 3 classes for kids 5+ are based on a pace activity approach. So what is PACE? Is an acronym that describes progressive, adaptive, cooperative, and educative activities. Okay, P is for progressive. There is a progression in my sessions. There is a progression in the activities that I develop. A progression that can last the time of a session or can last 10 classes if I want to. Okay, so I'm not worried about teaching something specifically on that day, because the progression of a learning can be also developed through months, okay? So I don't have a stress of teaching something specific in that moment. If I realize that my students are not able to get it in that moment, I can just cut it through and take it back the week after, okay? So this is why the activities are progressive, P, yeah, progressive. The next thing is adaptive. I am always in contact with my students. I observe the group and I make my decisions based on what I have planned and what I'm getting from them. So I am always open to change if I need, okay? And that is possible because the sessions are progressive. The activities are progressive, okay? They develop with the learning of the students. I give you an example. I could have a song and I wanted to teach, percussions on that song. I realized that my students don't want to play pace written like that, Shirley, exactly. P-A-C-E. So I realized that I don't want to teach drums because my kids in that moment are bored of playing the drums. Okay, what do? I change. I put something else on that, okay? So that's not a problem. I'm still working on the same song. I'm still working on the development of musical skills, I just change momentarily to something else, but it's a progression. So maybe the week after I can bring back the drums that I wanted to teach, okay? So I'm trying to make you understand why yes, progressive and adaptive are together, okay? The next word of a acronym is cooperative. Cooperative because, of course, this is a cooperative process, okay? I look at you, you look at me. I'm following you, you are following me. We are developing the activity together. We are getting into the learning together, okay? I can decide to arrange the piece with you. And you tell me what we play, what comes to your mind, okay? It's a next level of development of ideation. Ideation is a term that Gordon has cognated to describe the musical learning, the musical understanding, the musical awareness. It's an amazing word that includes many, many different things. It's not just mental, it's related to the body as well. But there are different levels of ideation, and there are different musical aptitude. So when I want to work on a rhythm aptitude, or I want to work on a tonal aptitude or harmonic aptitude, I don't have to do it in this specific class because I've decided that it has to happen today. If you are my students and we are working in a cooperative way through a progressive adaptive activity, there's no problem. We can do it the week after if you're ready for it the week after, okay? The last word is educative, of course, because we are in an educative process. We are in a formal instruction, okay? So with primary school kids, we're not talking about an informal guidance, which are words of Gordon, but we are actually following an approach with steps and sequential learning, okay? So pace activities, progressive, adaptive, cooperative, educative activities are the perfect combination, for me at least, between elements of music learning theory by Gordon, which is at the base of my classes. So I know that I have a strong theory to feel the content, to what should I give to my students now. That's what MLT tell me, okay? But it's combined with body percussion and circle music elements, like special awareness for the kids, playing with different type of group formations, vocal improvisation, fun games to coordinate and learn songs. Okay, so the multiple ways in which I develop the classes are very rich. We're not just following a standard MLT formal instruction, but is really combined with circle music and body percussion activities, okay? Because they're super motivated, super fun, and very open to so many possibilities that it would be a shame just to do not integrate them, okay? So the flowing routine is based on 4 moments that fluctuate between them and integrate between them, okay? Otherwise it wouldn't be called flowing activity. It would be called a flowing routine. It would be called routine, okay? Or fixed routine. No, it's a flowing routine, okay? There is a word flow in that. And flow means, at least for me, that we can mix things together. And the best aspect of this, you know what it is that kids don't realize that they are in a routine. And even teachers, when they come to see my classes, don't really understand how the hell did I move from one thing to the next without having any breaks, without stopping the flow, okay? So what is this flow that I'm talking about? I want the kids to enter a state of flow. The state of flow is something that have been studied by psychologists in the past, which we can understand in this way. Do you know when you're having a lot of fun and it feels like a 2-hour workshop lasted 30 minutes? It means that you enter a state of flow. okay? You really were connected with what you were doing, and the perception of time completely changed. That's the flowing routine. That's what I want my students to get in. I want them to be in a flow that starts from the first moment of a session until the last. If they enter the state of flow, then really they don't get to start laughing, getting annoyed or be oppositive to you. Okay? Because they're having fun. They're really enjoying what they're doing. Okay, but this could sound like magic. Okay? No, the state of flow is something that we can all integrate in our sessions because of a PACE activities that I spoke before. Okay? The progressive, adaptive, cooperative, educative activities. PACE, P-A-C-E, which is a word that I invented. Okay, so you're not gonna find it in a book. So, how does my flowing routine work? I start with a warm-up. In the warm-up, though, what is our main goal in the warm-up? To engage the kids, to wake them up, to bring them back to the music sessions, to give them familiarity again to music. Sure. But if I stop my goals, if I just decided that these are my goals, I'm really losing a lot of the potential of the warm-up. Okay? So in my warm-up, I am already working on a song that I will bring back after in my class. Okay? So kids are learning the song that I want to work on without thinking that they are learning that song. They think that they are having fun, but in reality, for me, they are learning what I need later. Okay? So this is why they integrate together. This is the starting the flow. So, with different techniques, with a lot of body music activities, we learn the first song, which can be Dorian, Phrygian, Locrian. Based on MLT, you can work on loads of modes. You can do whatever you want in that song. And there are different techniques to do it and different steps to follow. In the warm-up, though, I move already into my next stage of a class, which I've developed, I called Into the Groove. Okay? So, what is normally this second moment of my class for? In this second of my moment of my class, I want to develop skills. I want them to improve their musical skills. I want to work on their general rhythmical, tonal, melodical, and harmonic skills. With this, I based my class on MLT, pure MLT, but the way in which I do it, again, it's still part of the first warm-up. It's still using body music and circle music activities or techniques. So kids are moving from starting a class, entering the state of flow, entering a warm-up game, but they are also moving slightly into this developing skills session, into the groove, with specific exercises, specific patterns, specific games. And they don't even know that they have moved from one to the next. Okay. After that, I go to the main activity. The main activity, they already know the song because I have used it previously and the kids didn't know that they were learning it. So when I go back to this third part of a session, I actually don't have to teach anything. Kids already know it and their level of attention is going down. Yeah. So I cannot think about starting teaching now something else because they are too tired. In that moment of a session, we work on something specific, which I've described in our situations and in our courses I have in our programs, and that is part of the course Radical Roots. So in this specific moment, we work on learning the piece, rearrange, compose together, working on improvisation. Okay, we're learning something important, but they already know the base of it. So they are not tired. And then we finish with the last game, if we have time, which could be a drum circle, could be something fun. okay, to just have lots of fun together. Most of the time I ask them, what do you want to do? We have 5 minutes. Do you want something? Something specific? And they bring up games that maybe we've done 3 months before. So this is a flowing activity. A flowing routine. It is a routine. It is very clear in my mind what I'm doing, but it's flowing. Kids don't realize that they are going through a specific routine. Every time is different, the content. Okay, the routine is there. The content is different all the time, but it's based always on the same fundamental and always on the same theory. So the pedagogy is very strong. It doesn't change the pedagogy from one place to the next. It's a long plan based on MLT. But the way in which I develop it is through this PACE activity, okay, that really integrates between each other. I have fun. But in all of this, they have space for their creativity. They have space for their ideas because the activities are adaptive. We are in a cooperative approach, okay? So their ideas are important. And I think that the 85% of my activities have been developed with the kids' ideas, okay? And then I would take the idea and then I would use it to another group. So I don't spend basically... Sorry, firefighter. So I never spend time to plan my sessions because I have a very strong theory, which is MLT. And then I've learned a lot of games with body percussion. But actually these body percussion games are based on, body percussion, the way in which I use it is a perceptive body music, is not a performing body music. So once we have learned a few things, then we can modify body percussion all the time. We can use it as a tool, okay? I don't use body percussion to teach a specific sequence, but I use body music to perceive music, okay? So we can learn songs with body music, and we can use MLT with body music in this way, okay? Oof! This is a lot, I know. It could be quite a lot, and therefore, I put everything in a course, okay, which is what I wanted to speak with you at the end of this live, because a lot of people are asking me, how can I actually learn how to do this thing? How can I use the music tree approach in my sessions? Body music as a tool, exactly, Shirley. Yeah, not body music to perform, okay? Never a song with body music. I never do things like si mamma ka, ruka, 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 si mamma ka. I've done it for years and I moved away from that. If the kids are like, can we learn a song? Can we do like a call? They ask me sometimes for a canon. Can we do a canon? Then I bring back activities that I've done before. But otherwise, body music is to develop skills, okay? Anyway, how can you learn how to apply the flowing routine in your sessions based on these PACE activities? For a few days now, I have reopened the modules of the missing link. So you can access the first part of Radical Roots, okay? Because Radical Roots is really the full course where you can learn all the music tree approach for 5+. And for a few days I've opened the first part of it, which is called the missing link. And it explains exactly the content of what I have said today, okay? So everything I've spoke today about is in that course, in those 2 modules. So until Saturday, this course is available. After Saturday at one price. After Saturday, it goes up to its original price, okay? So for this specific live, I've decided to still have the same price that I had before. And if you are, so I said that there was a little surprise, right? I said, follow the live because there is going to be a surprise. So if you are following live now, or if you are watching the recordings of a live, with this specific price until Saturday, you also have another module, another extra module of radical roots for you. Okay? So this is literally only for the people that are watching now and for the people that are watching the recordings within Saturday. Okay? So there will be the missing link, which are the first 2 modules of the program Radical Roots, and then you will have another extra module of that course, which is going to be talking specifically of the PACE activities in practical aspects. Okay. Anyway, to have access to all of this, you have to comment down. Surprise! Okay. And here there is another thing that I forgot. If you have already purchased the missing link, you also have access to this specific gift, okay? So don't worry about that. You also have access to that. But comment surprise. If you want to access this offer, you need to comment surprise under this live, okay? All right, guys, I think I said a lot of stuff today. I hope you have a bit of a more clear idea of how I don't have troubles to engage students anymore, because everything is in cooperation with them, but based on really strong theories. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to your comments, or if you need to write me a private message, you can also do that. So we can talk about your specific situation a bit better and understand what you're looking for and how I can help you. And otherwise, I will see you in a while. Crocodile. Bye bye. Have a good day. Hasta luego. Ciao. Hasta pronto. Ciao, ciao, ciao.